James, in practical terms, what does it mean for the people of Scotland moving from stage 2 to stage 3?
Yeah, it means quite a lot. There was quite a lot in there, Adam, that shift from 2 to 3. And indeed, Scotland's First Minister described it as the most significant step in the easing of Scotland's lockdown. There is a lot in there, as I say. I'll skim through some of it. In terms of people getting back together, socialising, there was good news. 15 people from 5 different households can now get together outdoors at a distance of 2 metres, and in terms of indoors, 8 people from 3 different households can socialise within the same building, and that can include overnight stays. But Nicola Sturgeon stressed that there is a much bigger risk indoors than there is outdoors, so she reiterated that warning for people to take precautions, wash hands, keep 2 metres distance, and so on. From tomorrow, face masks or face coverings are mandatory on public transport, in shops and in enclosed spaces. She said, make a face covering as automatic as putting on a seat belt in a car. From the 15th of July, good news for the retail sector and hospitality. Restaurants can now take customers indoors, albeit with appropriate conditions, revised seating arrangements, 2 metres distance ideally, although in the retail hospitality sector there would be some compromise on that, assuming that precautions were taken, protective screens and so on. She said that Scotland was in a position to bring forward a couple of measures that had been some distance into the future. That relates to places of worship. People can now return to communal prayer, albeit at a distance inside of 2 metres. There will still be restrictions, though, on singing and chanting. She also said that when it comes to funerals, weddings and civil partnerships, there would be an easing of restriction on numbers who could attend those, only at the services, not at the wake or at the after parties. So generally a substantial easing of restrictions. As I say, she called it the most significant easing so far, but there was a reminder in there that the virus could come back. That was a real risk, and there was a real priority to contain it, particularly with a view to any return of COVID-19 over the winter months. And there were some encouraging figures in terms of the prevalence of the virus north of the border. Adam, you mentioned only 3 people in intensive care. She made the point that it was only recently, Nicola Sturgeon made the point that it was recently that 20 people, there was an average of 20 cases a day in Scotland. That has now reduced to 7. 3 weeks ago, she said, 2,900 people were infected in Scotland. Yesterday, that figure was 1,000.